where the business of this country is business, and be illiterate. You will be eaten alive in America. When we finish pontificating ad nauseum about our issues, somebody's got to write a check. Our Jewish brothers and sisters can write a check. Our Asian brothers and sisters can write a check. Our East Indian brothers and sisters can write a check, and I recently returned from Dubai, and our Arab brothers and sisters can write a check. We can't write a check. I want to read something to you. There are hundreds of articles. I picked 4 out of hundreds that I've read about the state of African American economic conditions. Google it. You'll see 1.2 million articles about the state of our wealth in this country. I'll read you just a couple. This is from the front page of USA Today. With all the photos, watching it, right? 2015. African American baby boomers will be the first generation of Africans in America that will raise another generation of Africans in America that will not do better than them. So in the 400-year history of our people in this country, we are the only generation of black folks to have ever lived in this country to raise another generation that will be worse off. We need our asses kicked. Count me out of that. Count David out of that. I will not be a part of that egregious statistic, and neither will you. You chose to be here. Most didn't. They will be. Quote number 2 from the Institute of Policy Studies, April of last year. If nothing changes among African Americans, it will take them 228 years, if ever, to close the wealth gap between blacks and whites in America, but it will take Hispanics 89 years. The Institute of Policy Studies out of Washington, D.C. It will take Hispanics who have been here 1/4 the time that we have been here, less than half the time to close the wealth gap than black folk. Do you realize that 228 years is almost the amount of time it took us to get free from slavery? Quote number 3. This is one of the most egregious, one of the worst ones I have saved. This was just in September of last year. Listen to this. This is in Fortune magazine. By 2053, just 10 years after the country is projected to become majority non-white, black median families will own 0 wealth if current trends continue. 20 years later, Latino median families will follow suit. White median family wealth will continue to own 6 figures. Fortune magazine, based on the study from the Institute of Policy Studies. So by 2053, black people will have no money. Now, do you think that's a joke? It ain't a joke. This is the front page headline from the Boston Globe last month. And they had to make a disclaimer on their own headline. And I'm going to read to you the headline. That was no typo. The median net worth of black Bostonians really is $8. This is one of the richest cities and the most educated cities in America. Do you want to know what the white median wealth of Bostonians is? It's in the article. 247,000. Our wealth in Boston is $8. So this statistic, by 2053, we will have zero wealth. Well, it ain't 2053. And Bostonians have zero wealth. Why? Because we are a financially illiterate people. Now, we're not alone. The Wall Street Journal came out with a major article in the middle of last year, and it said that financial illiteracy is an American problem, and demanded that Wall Street and business and government do something about educating Americans about money. Now, we know that when white folks catch a cold, black people catch pneumonia. So if financial illiteracy is an American problem, it's 10 times the problem in our culture. So let me say this and still be loved, in case no one has told you, I'm going to tell you. Take this from an elder. I consider myself to be an elder. At 73, I can call myself an elder. White folks will not be saving black people. They told me. My good white friends who don't know that I'm black, they tell me that all the time. They don't know that I'm black. See, they don't know that I'm a double agent. Let me say that another way. White folks are not even thinking about black people. Do you know who white folks are thinking about? White folks! That's who they're thinking about. They're thinking about their children, their husbands, their wives, their cousins, and their nephews. They ain't thinking about your black ass. They're not. I had a good white friend who told me, you know, Doc, I know what black people's problem is. I said, oh, really, Bob? What's black people's problem? He said, oh, you spend all your time thinking about us, and we don't spend any of our time thinking about you. So if you ain't thinking about you, and we damn sure ain't thinking about you, who's thinking about you? David is thinking about you. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about the few of you that will listen to a David. People will not change when they see the light. People will change when they feel the heat. You will never change that which you tolerate. You will only change when you get angry. And obviously, not enough of us are angry. But some of us are. And we will lead the rest of our people to the promised land. That's how it's always been. That's how it will always be. Not all black people will see what we're talking about. One of the most common questions I get when I speak around the country is, Dr. Fraser, when will all black people do A, B, C, D, E, or G? All black people will never do anything. You understand history. All black people didn't want to be free. That's why Harriet Tubman had to carry a gun. All black people didn't support Du Bois. All black people didn't support Garvey. All black people didn't support Dr. King. All black people didn't support Malcolm. All black people will never do anything. Don't wait for all black people. That's not the right question. The question is, when will you do it? That's all that matters. And when you do it, when you model the behavior that you expect from your children, that's all I'm talking about, from your children, that's when your children will change. Because your children are not listening to you, brothers and sisters, they're watching you. And your children are going to do what you do, not what you say. That's all we're really talking about. It's no more complicated than that. And once we dig deep and understand why wealth is important, this was a dramatization of why wealth is important. But your wealth will determine where you live. Where you live will determine where your children go to school. Do you understand this? And where your children go to school will determine the quality of your children's higher education. And the quality of your children's higher education will determine your children's lifelong earnings. And your children's lifelong earnings will determine where your children live. And where your children live will determine where your grandchildren go to school. And where your you see the cycle? Why is wealth important? Well, in a market-based economy, in a democratic capitalistic society, the only color that really matters is green. They just said it. And so until our pile of green is as big and as high and as deep and as wide and as leveraged as David talks about all the time, as any other cultural group's pile of green, we will never be considered an equal at the table of democratic capitalism. I'm not saying capitalism is right. I'm just saying that's what it is. And we must learn to navigate it and negotiate it and leverage it. Why is wealth important? Because the tax system was set up for the landowner and the business. You know that. Why was the tax system set up for the landowner and the business owner? Because landowners and business owners wrote the tax laws. And so when you're writing the tax laws, you're going to write the tax laws to benefit your situation. So if we're not landowners, and we own the fewest number of homes per capita of any cultural group in this country, and we came over here on the Mayflower, and we're not business owners, and we own the fewest number of businesses per capita of any cultural group in this country, and again, we came over here on the Mayflower, you cannot fully exploit the American tax system. Do you understand that? This is why Trump doesn't want you to see his tax returns, because he's a landowner, right? And he's a business owner, and he fully exploits the American tax system, and the percentage of taxes that he pays is but a fraction of the percentage of your income that you pay in taxes. I don't want you to see that. So, let's get to the basics of this. There are 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. There are 4 pillars. I want you to write this down. I want you to memorize this. There are 4 pillars. I'm going to uncomplicate the hell out of this for you. There are 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. First is proper management of accumulated wealth. So if you have some money, if you got a little something, Are you properly managing it, fertilizing it, and helping it to grow so that you have peace of mind in your retirement, and so that you don't leave your children burying you? You know how many GoFundMe campaigns of good friends that I've contributed to just to bury their parents and leaving them in debt? Proper management of accumulated wealth. That's one pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth, so that you don't leave your children worse off. Proverbs 13:22 tells us what? A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Okay? So that's the first. The second, David talked about it, real estate. Real estate, because you cannot pass on a rent payment, whether it is residential or commercial. You know what the number one, there are 10 huge industries in America. The number one industry in America at $1.9 trillion is real estate. Buying, selling, renting. 1.9 trillion a year. It is the largest industry in America. And we ain't in it. We ain't in it in any significant way. You know what the second largest industry in America is? State and local government, not the federal government. That's the 9th largest industry in America. A lot of people think it's the federal government. The state and local government and the business that's conducted, state and local government. Do you know what the third largest industry in America? And I'm going to finish at that. Insurance. Third largest industry in America. I'll get that in a minute. So the second pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth is what? Real estate. The third pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth, you could probably guess it, would be what? Business ownership. You cannot pass on a damn job. Business ownership almost at any level. Full-time, part-time, quarter-time. There should not be a Negro in the 21st century with a single stream of income. I think that was said in the movie. There should be a law against that. We should write our own law, David, making it illegal for a black person to have a single stream of income. There's no reason for it. There's too much opportunity out here. There's unlimited opportunity, brothers and sisters. There's more opportunity to start and to build a profitable business than we are willing to look for. So the 21st century for us must be about building our capacity to take advantage of the unlimited opportunity. Unlimited, it's everywhere. If you look, it's everywhere. You'll stumble. That is a trend in Black America, right? More and more brothers and sisters have an entrepreneurial mindset. Let me give you an interesting statistic related to that. The U.S. Census Bureau every 5 years comes out with the number of businesses owned by cultural groups. The latest 5-year report was 2012. The new one will be coming out the end of 2017, which means we'll start reading it around the first quarter of this year. But let me give you the most recent statistics on black business ownership. And in there is a hidden statistic that speaks to exactly what I'm suggesting that you do. There are 3.1 million black-owned businesses in America, about a 40% growth over the last 5-year reporting period. 3.1 million black-owned businesses. We own, though, the fewest number of businesses per capita of any cultural group in America. Of those 3.1 million businesses, 111,000 of those businesses, my dear, have employees, and they average about $1.2 billion in annual revenue a year. The other 2.9 million of those businesses are sole proprietorships, and they average about $10,000 a year in annual revenue. What does that tell you? Part-time. Quarter-time, part-time, second hustle. By the way, that number is up over the last 5-year reporting period, 140%. So that means that a lot of black people are getting the entrepreneurial bug, they understand the importance of it, and they're planting seeds, and they're fertilizing those seeds, and those businesses are starting small, and ultimately some will grow to huge businesses, but we're moving in the right direction. It's a good thing. A long way to go, but we're changing our mindsets, David, about business. This is huge. That clip said that. What is America about? The business of America is business. So either you are building a business to make you wealthy, eventually, or you're working in a business for someone else to do what? To make them wealthy. That's the nature of business. That was the third pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. And the fourth and final pillar is what I consider to be the umbrella, the most important, for a couple of reasons. Not that each of those pillars aren't important, they're critical. And the fourth pillar is proper insurance. Why? Because every asset that you own of value is what? Insured. That's why it is the third largest industry in America. Now, here's an interesting statistic, Maria, pulled out of the New York Times several months ago. I read the Sunday New York Times. I urge that you do too. But anyway, here's an interesting statistic about black people. This article in the New York Times said that more black people have insurance on their cell phone than they do their own lives or the lives of their children by a factor of 10. In other words, the overwhelming majority of us believe that our cell phones are more important than our lives and the lives of our children. I had to read that 6 times. I cried and I prayed at the same time that someday we will see the light. One of, do you still have YouTube? I want you to look up $1 Million Baby. $1 Million Baby. He's got a lot of skills. What would it be called, Maria? How do we find $1 Million Baby on YouTube?